Hi, we're Team Cambridge and our project is a pickup line generator. We created an AI that returns a pickup line when the user inputs a prompt. When the bot returns a pickup line, it will then proceed to approve or disapprove the pickup line as though it were being judged by the user's grandmother. The bot outputs a creative pickup line for the user to use for their own purpose. Now Michael will explain the motivation and process behind this project.
So if you've ever been in a romantic dilemma, you know exactly how it feels to not have a pickup line ready. It's imperative to make social interactions more comfortable and easygoing. Speaking to your love interest can be extremely nerve-wracking and tense, so a pickup line handcrafted by a certified grandmother will certainly seal the deal. During the first week of AI Camp, we learned the basics of Python. We learned the different data types, variables, loops, if statements, and different built-in functions. Our main focus was on dictionaries as a way to prepare for the next stage of learning. We were also introduced to various concepts within the field of natural language processing to get us started with our project. During the second week of AI Camp, we picked a project topic and collected about 2,400 sample pickup lines as data. After we cleaned the data, this went down to about 1,500 pickup lines, which pushed us to collect more. We learned the usage of pandas and learned how data frames can be leveraged to manipulate data. During the last week of AI Camp, we broke up into two teams, front-end and back-end teams, and we worked on different parts of the project. The front-end team worked on designing the website, while the back-end team worked on applications and training the models.
So we use various tools and resources to create the two main components of this product, and those being text generation and sentiment analysis. Firstly, we learn and use the Python 3 programming language throughout the duration of this camp as we gain knowledge on basic features such as functions, variables, and data types. But we also investigated certain modules and packages like NumPy and Pandas. And as for text generation, we use the GPT-2 model, and we had originally planned on using the GPT-Neo model, but during our training, we noticed that the model was overfitting, which means that the model was learning the data too well. And when we enter in a sample input prompt, the generator would return pickup lines that were only in our training data, which we were obviously trying to avoid as we were hoping the generator would be able to generate new and original pickup lines. So in order to resolve this conflict, we needed more data, but that was one of the biggest challenges for us considering we were already working with a limited training data set. Therefore, we used NLP augmentation, which generated additional synthetic data using our current data set. It substituted synonyms for many of the words and phrases into our lines, which meant it didn't alter the meaning or connotation of the pickup lines, but still created more usable data for us to train. And consequently, our GPT-2 model worked amazingly as it was less complex in comparison to GPT-Neo, but still efficiently trained the data. And as for our sentiment analysis, we labeled the data using ones, zeros, and negative ones. And these labels were based on our perception of whether or not a grandma would approve the pickup lines. So all the lines we believed would be approved would be labeled one, and all the lines we believed would not be approved would be labeled -1. And we used the zero label for the lines that weren't related to pickup lines or simply just didn't make sense, which happened because of our NLP augmentation. And for example, some of the lines contain phrases like atomic number 53, which if you don't know is I on the periodic table. And so during augmentation, that phrase was substituted for the letter I, and it simply doesn't make sense for anyone to read or understand these pickup lines. So we labeled them as zero because we couldn't use them. And using our labeling, we built a random forest model with an accuracy of about 75% for the sentiment analysis task. And that would show the approval or disapproval of a given pickup line. And now Rachel will explain the team page.
Hi, so our team worked together in two groups to cover all the working parts of the project that we needed, while Vinny, Michael, and our TA Aashish, which is like best TA, worked on the back, which deals with how the project looks and functions of the project. Ibne, Paljor, and I worked on the front end of the project, which deals with how the project looks to the user, especially through web design. Both groups met in the middle to put together the website in the end by either providing the buttons and links needed or linking the code to those same buttons. And now Paljor is going to demonstrate the project.
Yep, so I'll start with the demo now for our product. Okay, so here, get a curated pickup line from a certified grandmother. For the input prompt, we can type in any word or sentence. For example, I would put in, I love you. Oh, sorry. And then generate pickup line. On the bottom, it should display two pickup lines. I love you like I love my cat, and every time I see you, he goes from FL. I'm not too sure about that one. But I love you like a mouse loves a mozzarella stick. That's decent, I guess. And we can do another one right here. I love you like a pig loves not being bacon. That's very good. Loves not being bacon. Okay, but yeah. If you check the results, it will output two results, which will both be pickup lines. And incorporating sentiment analysis, if Mima, which is just another word for grandma, realizes that the sentence isn't a good positive statement or does not make sense, it will read Mima doesn't approve this message. And if Mima approves it, she will state Mima approves this message. And however, our product is not perfect, as you saw with the double pickup lines. There are many ways to improve this, however. One definite way is to retrain the model with better versions of our data set. So maybe by removing sentences in our previous data set that don't really correlate or make sense, editing the labels for our new data, or adding new data sets that correlate with the overall pickup line generator. We're also working on the sentiments, which we have about pretty completed for now, and ensures that there are no negative words or bad innuendos in our sentences. And for post-processing, we will clean and revamp the generated outputs, which we have already done.
Some of our challenges were limited data, handling overfitting, and labeling the data. We had over 2,000 pickup lines in our original data set that we had to manually filter to remove explicit words or inappropriate remarks. This reduced our data by a large percentage. So the limited data contributed to overfitting. So we had to go back and collect more data as well as use NLP-OG. Lastly, we had trouble labeling the data for the sentiment analysis because the pickup lines were extremely broad and diverse. We needed to choose the label that could incorporate all the lines effectively, which was certainly conflicting. So overall, through trial and error, we resolved and overcame these challenges brilliantly and successfully created our AI product. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's give this group a round of applause as well. That was a really cool product there. Pickup line generator. It's really cheeky. I love the grandma Mima approves of this message. That's really funny. And I was also like super excited to hear about those challenges you guys had. So, you know, working on sentiment analysis and having to worry about overfitting of your GPT model, NLP-OG, these are all brilliant tools to use and really fun experience to work through, I'm sure.